Harmonic Ascension. The Septagram Awakens. Act 1. The Convergence Conservatory. A vast, crystalline dome structure with 7 distinct wings radiating from a central chamber. Students of various ages move through hallways where light shifts in patterns synchronized to ambient tones. Aria, 40s, composed, with streaks of silver in her hair, walks beside Melody, now 22, confident, with an ethereal quality to her movements. Aria. The fourth realm representatives arrive today. Are you nervous? Melody. Not nervous. More curious. The resonance communicated through music, but these beings, the harmonics, they experience sound as physical structure. How do you prepare for that? Aria. Smiling, the same way we prepared for everything else, by being open to what we don't understand. They enter the central chamber where Malcolm, 50s, distinguished with subtle ethereal features, and Sophia, 40s, serene with eyes that shift colors, are adjusting a complex instrument resembling a cross between a harp and a geometric sculpture. Malcolm. The calibration is almost complete. This should allow us to perceive the harmonics, native frequency without the usual distortion. Sophia. Placing her hand on the instrument, the septagram chamber is responding. All 7 connection points are showing activity. A young student, Elion 16, intense, with a subtle glow beneath his skin, approaches cautiously. Elion. Professor Aria, is it true that the harmonics can see music? Aria. Not exactly, Elion. They don't see, as we understand it. They perceive vibration as form. To them, a symphonic piece is like a living architecture. Elion. Like the septagram itself. Aria. Impressed. Exactly like that. The septagram isn't just a symbol, it's a blueprint of consciousness across all 7 realms. A soft chime resonates through the chamber, and the air in the center begins to shimmer. Malcolm. They're early. Act 2. The Arrival. The air in the center of the chamber solidifies into crystalline forms that pulse with internal light. 3 harmonics emerge, beings of geometric precision with faceted surfaces that reflect and refract light in impossible ways. They hover just above the floor, their forms continuously shifting while maintaining perfect symmetry. Aria. Bowing slightly, welcome to the Convergence Conservatory. I am Aria, and these are my colleagues. Malcolm, Sophia, and Melody. The central harmonic, Prisma, extends what appears to be an appendage that emits a series of tones. Above them, the air ripples with visible sound waves that form complex patterns. Prisma. The sound patterns coalesce into words that everyone hears differently, each in their native language. Your invitation resonates with truth. We have traversed the septagram's 4th vertex to commune with you directly. Elion gasps audibly as the sound patterns briefly form into an image of the septagram symbol. Melody. Stepping forward, we've prepared a composition to help establish a common foundation for communication. She moves to a piano-like instrument and begins to play. As her fingers touch the keys, visible waves of sound emerge, but rather than dissipating, they begin to construct a delicate structure in the air, a miniature representation of the Convergence Conservatory itself. The 3 harmonics vibrate in response, adding layers to Melody's creation. The structure grows more complex, adding details no human architect could imagine. 2nd harmonic resonus. Your young one contains multiples. She bridges realms instinctively. Sophia. Melody has been a bridge since childhood. She was the first to hear the ethereals clearly. 3rd harmonic echo. Its form pulsing with deeper tones, the child before us, gestures toward Elion, carries a similar resonance but with greater amplitude. He hears beyond the 4th. Everyone turns to look at Elion, who appears startled. Elion. I just hear music sometimes. When I'm dreaming. It doesn't sound like anything from Earth or even like the ethereal compositions. Prisma. Because it isn't. You perceive the fifth realm's awakening chord. Act 3, the revelation. Later, in a smaller chamber with 7 walls, each displaying a different projection of the septagram symbol. Arya, Malcolm, Sophia, and the 3 harmonics form a circle around a central platform where Melody guides Elion through a series of musical exercises. Elion. Eyes closed, concentrating, it's like trying to remember a song I've never heard before. Melody. Don't force it. Let it find you. Elion nods and places his hands on a crystalline surface. As he does, a hauntingly beautiful sequence of notes emerges, nothing like human or ethereal music, not even like the structured vibrations of the harmonics. The air seems to fold around the sound. The harmonics vibrate intensely, their forms momentarily destabilizing. Prisma. Its pattern speech more urgent. The fifth gate responds. Too soon, the convergence sequence is accelerating. Malcolm. Alarmed, accelerating. The septagram was supposed to awaken over generations, not years. Resonus. Your perspective is linear. The septagram does not awaken in sequence but in harmony. When one vibration reaches sufficient amplitude, others naturally respond. Sophia. Like sympathetic strings on an instrument. Echo. Extending its form toward the ceiling, precisely. Your Elion has inadvertently created a resonance cascade. The room begins to vibrate subtly, and the 7 projections of the septagram begin to rotate, each at a different speed. Arya. To prismatic, what does this mean for the realms? For consciousness itself. Prisma. It means the grand movement approaches more rapidly than anticipated. The septagram was once a unified consciousness before the great divergence separated us across 7 states of being. Elion. Still with his hands on the crystal. I can feel them, the fifth realm. They're calling themselves, the Chordians. They exist as pure harmonic relationships. The crystal beneath Elion's hands begins to glow, and a new presence manifests, not physically like the harmonics, but as intricate patterns of light that form and reform in complex mathematical sequences. Fifth realm entity Arya. Its communication comes as a feeling of understanding rather than words. We have always been here, waiting for consciousness to evolve to the point of recognition. Melody. Mesmerized, they don't use music as communication, they exist as music, as relationship between tones. Malcolm. This changes everything we understood about the septagram. We're not just witnessing the awakening of communication between realms. Sophia. Finishing his thought, we're witnessing the reassembly of a fractured consciousness. Act 4, the resonant hall. A vast amphitheater filled with humans, ethereals, visible as luminous, flowing forms, resonance appearing as complex standing waves of color and light, and harmonics. On stage, Arya stands before representatives of all 4 known realms. Behind them, a massive projection of the septagram glows, with 4 of its 7 points brilliantly illuminated. Arya. Addressing the gathering, for generations, humanity believed we were alone in the universe. Then came the revelation of the ethereals, followed by the resonance, and now the harmonics. Today, we've glimpsed the fifth realm, the Chordians. The septagram awakens faster than any of us anticipated. Murmurs spread through the crowd, excitement from the younger humans, concern from the older ones. Elder ethereal lumen. Its form shimmering with anxiety, the acceleration threatens stability. Our realms were separated for a reason, consciousness fragmented because unified awareness was too intense to maintain. Prisma. Hovering center stage, yet fragmentation was always temporary. The septagram seeks wholeness. From the audience, Elion stands. Elion. I've been dreaming of the 6th and 7th points too. They're waiting, watching us struggle with this reunion. A hush falls over the gathering. Melody. Joining Arya on stage, the acceleration gives us an opportunity. Instead of generations of gradual adaptation, we can compose a convergence symphony, a piece performed simultaneously across all realms to stabilize the connections. Senior resonant vibrato. Its patterns shifting rapidly, a noble concept, but harmonic cohesion across 5 different states of consciousness has never been attempted. The dissonance could shatter rather than unify. Sophia. Stepping forward, that's why we need representatives from each realm to compose together, not separately. True co-creation. Arya. The Convergence Conservatory was built for exactly this purpose. We propose forming a Septagram council with members from each realm to guide this process. From the back of the amphitheater, a voice rings out, Elder Malcolm, now appearing partially transcended between human and ethereal forms. Elder Malcolm. And what of the risks? The ancient texts speak of the Great Divergence as a catastrophe that nearly ended all consciousness. Are we certain reunification is wise? Prisma. Its form expanding, not reunification, harmonization. We need not become one again to resonate together. Arya. Looking toward Eliana, the younger generations are already adapting. They're born with the capacity to perceive multiple realms, to think in ways we cannot imagine. Elion. Speaking with unexpected authority, the Chordians have shown me glimpses of the 6th realm. They call themselves the Patterned Ones. They exist as living mathematics, pure relationship without form or vibration. A ripple of astonishment passes through the crowd. Resonus. Then it is as we feared. The 7th will soon follow. Arya. With resolve, then we must be ready. The Convergence Symphony will be our anchor as consciousness expands. We start composition today. Act 5. The Septagram Awakens. 3 months later. The central chamber of the Convergence Conservatory has been transformed into a vast performance space. 7 distinct sections hold representatives from different realms. Humans with traditional instruments, ethereals with their light harps, resonance manipulating wave patterns, harmonics arranging crystalline structures, and now Chordians manifesting as mathematical relations HPS between all other elements. Arya, Melody, Malcolm, and Sophia stand at the center, surrounded by a physical representation of the septagram that hovers above the floor, 5 of its 7 points brilliantly illuminated. Arya. To the assembled performers, the Convergence Symphony is complete. Each realm has contributed, and together we've created something that has never existed before, music that can be simultaneously experienced across all states of consciousness. Melody. Looking toward the 2 unlit points of the septagram, and perhaps it will be heard beyond the 5 realms we know. Elion approaches, now visibly changed, his form occasionally shifting between solid and something more abstract, as if he exists partially in multiple realms simultaneously. Elion. They're listening. The 6th and 7th. They've always been listening. Sophia. Are they ready to join us? Elion. With a strange smile, that's not the right question. The question is, are we ready to recognize that they've been part of us all along? The septagram above them pulses, and for a moment, the 6th point flickers with light. Malcolm. With sudden understanding, the patterned ones, they're not separate beings. They're the underlying mathematical relationships that govern all consciousness across all realms. Prisma. Its form perfectly still for the first time. Yes. And the 7th, the prime, is the unified field from which all consciousness emerges and to which all returns. Arya. Taking a deep breath, then let us begin. Not to awaken something external, but to recognize what has always been present. She raises her hands, and all performers prepare. Melody begins the opening phrase on an instrument that seems to exist in multiple states simultaneously. The music builds, not just sound, but light, structure, mathematical relationship, and something beyond perception that can only be felt as a profound sense of recognition. As the symphony reaches its climax, the sixth point of the septagram illuminates fully. Patterns of impossible complexity manifest throughout the chamber, the patterned ones revealing themselves not as entities but as the relationships between all things. Voice of the patterned ones. Experienced by each being according to their nature. We are the architecture of existence, the laws that bind and separate, the reason behind all reason. The symphony continues, building toward a final movement. The seventh point of the septagram begins to glow softly. Elion. His voice changing, becoming both more and less than human, it's happening. The septagram awakens fully. The final movement reaches its conclusion, not with a climactic chord but with a moment of perfect silence. In that silence, the seventh point of the septagram illuminates with a light unlike any other, not bright, not colorful, but somehow containing everything. Presence of the prime. Not heard or seen but known by all present, I am the beginning and end of all awareness, the infinite potential from which consciousness arises and to which it returns. You have not found me, you have remembered me. The complete septagram pulses once, and for a brief moment, every being in the chamber experiences a flash of unified consciousness, seeing through the perception of all other beings simultaneously, understanding all realms as aspects of a greater whole. As the moment passes, the beings remain separate but forever changed by the glimpse of unity. Aria. Tears streaming down her face, the harmonic ascension is complete. Not an end, but a beginning. Melody. Looking around at the transformed chamber, what happens now? Elion. His form now stabilizing as something new, a bridge between states of being, now the real work begins. Learning to live as both separate and unified. Distinct melodies within the greater symphony. The septagram remains illuminated above them, no longer a symbol but a living reality, a map of consciousness itself and a promise of evolution continuing across dimensions beyond imagination. Malcolm. Gazing upward, the journey never truly ends, does it? Sophia. Taking his hand, that's the most beautiful part. Far above the Convergence Conservatory, the sky briefly shimmers with patterns that echo the septagram, visible to all on Earth, a sign that consciousness itself has forever changed, awakening to recognitions that had always been present but never before perceived. As the patterns fade, a single, perfect tone remains, the first note of a greater composition just beginning. The end.